if you had 3 wheels spinning in space, the center one twice as wide as the 2 outside ones, and we're using G-forces. If you had 5 G's and we're dropping weights, if you were dropping weight on one side and picking up weight on the other, maybe you could move something in space. If you were using G-forces, you'd probably have to have power. So if you had a nuclear power plant on one end for power, you'd probably have to balance it. So on the other end, if you had a habitat ring on the other, so you'd have several floors. Each floor would be 10 foot, so you'd have several 10-foot floors, each floor spinning at its own speed, and one ring would spin one way, the other ring would spin the other way, the other ring would spin the other way. Each of these floors would spin the opposite way of these two, and these floors, these would spin the opposite way of these. So, you'd have these at about like 5 G's. This would be dropping, like if you were standing on the scale at 5 G's and stepped off, you'd be 5 G's light. So on this side, you'd pull in 5 G's, so it'd be 10 G's difference in between this side and the other side. There'd be 10 G's difference. I've got this idea on my Facebook page. David Formhals, Formhals. It's on my Facebook page, and you can look it up. There's several ideas. Also, if you had like a container of air that you had rings around it with an equal volume of water, these rings, if you had it sitting on Earth inside a container with water around it, you slide these rings up and down so these containers of air have access to water or don't have access to water. When the water can get in under these containers of air will slide up. You slide these rings down, and the containers of air will have access to water, and these containers of air will slide down. Okay, if there's a way, I got a way so that they're floating on water. Now, there's pressure underneath of it, but there's a way so that when you got two of them sitting next to one another, when they're sitting next to one another, when they come down, they exchange pressure in between the two of them. So they exchange pressure in between the two of them, and they're sitting on posts. So when one comes down, the pressure of the one goes to the pressure of the other one that's coming up, and I think it'll work like that in between the two of them.